Well, this is Call My Bluff, where the man who converts his pyjamas into bow ties is invariably Frank Muir.
Good evening. Neither of my two guests have played this game before, which is rather nice. My first has two jobs. She's wife to Lord Harlech, and she's also cookery editor of Vogue, Pamela Harlech. As a nation, we're supposed to enjoy messing about in boats, and my next guest messes about on rather a grander scale and to greater success than most of us. In fact, he messed around in a boat, the first man to mess around in a boat, non-stop, single-handed, all the way around the world, Robin Knox-Johnston.
Now we have the old wooden halfpenny himself, Patrick Campbell.
Good evening. And my first guest is a most distinguished Shakespearean actress, now playing in Measure for Measure with the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford-on-Avon. But she's also a dear little thing called Francesca Anise. And my other guest is also a Shakespearean actor. But thank heavens he's only Michael Jayston.
Let's see if the old magic works. Yes, it does, and it brings down the first word. And as you know, man and boy, Gingawdry is going to be defined three different ways by Frank Muir and his team. Two of the definitions are going to be cod or false. One of them is going to be true. That's the one that Patrick and company are going to try and pick out. So what about this word, Frank?
Well, this piece of frozen cod is a Manx word. No? Well, no, it is. It's a Manx word. It means a blind alley. And if you're in the Isle of Man and you go up a passage and you can't get out at the other end, you're in a Gingawdry. It also means, actually, an adjective. You could use it as an adjective to say that you're, as you are, nonplussed or baffled.
Wait till he hears the others, beginning now with Robin Knox-Johnston, yes?
Well, a Gingawdry is an old Welsh word and is used to describe the old Welsh social unit, which had its rights and privileges described under bardic law. Gingawdry consisted of 4 generations, and it gave the great-grandfather, the head of the Gingawdry, considerable proprietary rights over the rest of the family.
What, like selling them if he chose into slavery or that? Anyway, now it's Pamela Harlech's go.
Well, Gingawdry is a fish pâté, which was served as a starter as long ago as 1400 A.D. Gingawdry is prepared from the livers of various fish like hake or haddock or codling, and the livers are parboiled before they are mashed with various herbs into a thick paste.
Sounds delicious. It's a dead end in the Isle of Man. It's a fish pâté, and it's a Welsh family with very peculiar rules. Patrick?
Well, goodness me. Baffled in a blind alley in the Isle of Man. Well, not even the Isle of Man could produce a word like that. But I think the Welsh could. These social... Well, kind of paterfamilias, that kind of arrangement.
Don't answer extra questions unless you feel... unless we're 4-1, which we will be.
May I continue with my speculation?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Service.
I don't believe anything to do with whales at all. I think it's got something to do with awful boiled fish livers in the 14th century.
You don't use the word, I know, but you are plumping for that, aren't you? Yes, you flinched. But it was Pamela Harlech who said that. Was that true, or was it a bluff?
I think it's true.
It's that delicious refection of fish so described. And now we have another word, trobellion. Patrick Campbell's go.
Trobellion is a tiny little cactus-like plant that grows in the rocks and cliffs of Cornwall. Its scientific name is Pilatus sempervivum. It's also known by a whole shower of pet names, each one of them more revolting than the other, because it can be called prick finger, or humstickle, or even willy pilly pins.
Well, it's Michael Jayston's turn.
A trobellion was an ancient Greek optical device for magnifying a source of light through water. In fact, a trobellion is a glass globe filled with water. And for instance, in a very dimly lit room, you could put this trobellion anywhere you liked and direct a shaft of light anywhere you chose.
Yep. Okay, well now, Francesca Annis, what do you say?
A trobellion is a whirling wind that comes whirling out of a clear blue sky. And an ancient account of a garden party attended by King Arthur contains the following quote. Merlin, by craft, made such a trobellion arise that there was left nothing but tent nor pavilion standing.
Well, that's fairly complete. There you have it. It's an optical device. It's a plant sometimes known as willy-pilly pins, according to Patrick, which probably be the next word down to define. Or it's a whirling sort of wind. Frank?
No problem here at all. Crystal clear. 2 pathetic attempts to make capital out of the Cornish-sounding trobellion name. First of all, the willy-pilly pins.
That's what it's called, familiarly.
That's what you were called.
Never.
I don't think it's a whirly wind. I think it's this improbable word for an ancient glass globe filled with water, but I'm sure that's what it is.
You're going to choose that.
Will you put me out of...
Michael Jayston, yes, true or bluff?
It isn't. Good.
So it wasn't the optical device. Now, which of the other two might it be, truthfully speaking?
Not willy-pilly pins, it can't. Oh, thank heavens.
It's the whirling. Not willy-pilly pins with which Patrick holds his trousers up, I suspect, but the whirling wind. Storpings, stopings, I don't know. Robin Knox-Johnston, how do you pronounce it?
Storpings. Well, Storpings was, until 1945, the Admiralty decreed that any sailor under punishment should tease out 4 pounds of oakum every day. And this is a tedious chore because it means you've got to take a rope, a tarred rope, and pull it into little pieces. You make a big ball of oakum. And storpings is the lower deck slang word for oakum that has been so laboriously teased out. It's a lower deck slang word for oakum.
Right. Now it's Pamela Harlech to go.
Stopings. Stopings are pieces of surplus fat which are trimmed off the carcass of an animal or of a joint of meat, and they're put into a pan and they're rendered into lard. Now, the best and purest of these stopings are found in the fat surrounding sheep's kidneys. And these are rendered down and they're set so beautifully that the lard is virtually transparent.
Well, that's a mercy. Frank, now.
Stoppings, or stoppings, or staubings, is a collective noun, or noun of assembly, for the potholes stamped into muddy roads by cattle or horses. Now, strictly speaking, you could have a stomping, but this would mean that the horse or the cow was either limping so badly that it's hopping along on one leg, or that it was walking extremely carefully so that all the hooves went into the one hole. So generally speaking, in most parts of the country you'll find that it is used in the plural. Storpings.
Right. Storpings are little bits of oakum, or transparent pieces of fat, or they are a collective noun for potholes made in the style described by Frank. Michael Jayston.
Yes, well, Frank Muir was so convoluted.
He always is. There's nothing new there.
None of us getting
That
any
could
younger.
be the one, but I tend to say no because he did elaborate a bit. So I'm left with oakum and this fat on the carcass of a sheep. I think I wouldn't say it was oakum. I'll go for the fat.
Well,
Kidneys.
Pamela Harlech said that it was the rendered down fat of sheep in this condition. True or bluff, was it now?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with that, nothing to do with that at all. Must be one of the others. I wonder which it is. Who gave the true definition? Quite right. Storpings, stoupings, or pronounce it as you will, is or are the holes made by cows and so forth marching along. We have unch, Michael Jayston.
An unch is a raised platform in Malaya on which the natives put their produce or goods for either sale or barter. And often, round this unch is put a fence of either wood or netting to discourage thieves, so that from a distance it could look like a rather primitive boxing ring. Unch.
Right, now, Francesca, it's your turn.
Well, unch is, of course, short for a short lunch. Now, to be more precise, unch is a snack that's taken, you know, in between, periods of work while people are haymaking or beetroot mulching or something like that, and, some sort of agricultural work, and more often than not, it's made up of, cheese and biscuits. Unch, a short lunch.
Yeah, well, dear. Exactly the way it suggested. Patrick?
Unch, Red Indian word, and it's the Red Indian word, unch, it's like hole. Unch is a beaver-like dam made not by beavers, but by Red Indians. And the real experts in this field are the Blackfeet. And the Blackfeet want to catch some fish, no messing around with nets or hooks. So they build this beaver-like dam into a kind of V shape with logs.
With their feet. Hence the name.
Unch is a beaver-like dam. After they built it, not cemented, but with mud. All the logs together, they drive the fish into it, and just pick them out by hand. Say, there's your unch out of the unch.
You wouldn't make a bad Red Indian yourself, Patrick. That South Seas tan you've got. Anyway, it's a platform whence you sell things. It's a kind of a little snack or bite, and it's a Red Indian type dam. Robin Knox-Johnston.
Yes. Well, I've heard of brunch, but not of unch. So I think we'll risk ignoring a snack. Raised platform in a Malayan market. It could be, but it sounds a bit rough for the Malays. I think we'll go for a Red Indian dam.
The Red Indian dam, which Patrick spoke so convincingly. True or bluff?
Oh.
No, it wasn't that. Who gave the true definition of this word, unch? It is indeed. Unch is a little snack, 11s is that kind of thing. And now we have gledge, and it's Pamela Harlech's turn.
Well, gledge Gledge is a sidelong look. It's a covert glance from the corner of the eye, as women are wont to bestow on men when they are feeling coquettish, and men when they're feeling furtive.
It's quite different.
Gledge is also a verb, meaning to project such a glance in such a fashion.
Splendid. Frank, stop sucking that pen.
I was sucking the right end this time. Gledge, homemade glue.
That's all?
Yes, you could make it by getting an elderly cart horse and backing it into a pot of boiling water, I suppose. or you could boil down old neck curtains and mix them with white of egg. Or you could just mix up flour and water, as one used to do in making paper chains for Christmas. Whatever happened
Tell
to
us
making
more, Frank,
paper
about
chains
that.
for Christmas? Used to cut the little strips and fold them round and use flour and water and hold them and they stick. Homemade, any sort of homemade glue.
Right. Robin Knox-Johnston.
Well, a gledge is a sort of non-spade-shaped spade, which is used for digging up turnips or mangel-wurzels. Came in before modern agricultural machinery came along. It's particularly found in Norfolk, and it's tapered curved.
He spots them.
It's a tapered spade, and it's curved so that you can get down and under and up, as it were, haul out the vegetables.
Right. It's a turnip spade, much used in Norfolk. And it's a sly look, coquettish for the one sex or furtive for the other, and it's homemade glue. Francesca, what do you say?
Well, I don't know. A coquettish look. I think I most probably would have heard about that.
You would have,
Yes, I think so. On the other hand, a non-spade-shaped spade. I don't think I would have heard about that, except that I might have heard about that at school.
In Norfolk?
Yes, in Norfolk. And on the other hand, glue, homemade glue, melting down net curtains. I'm sure I would have heard about that in my youth. Which I never did. Or a cart horse backed onto boiling water. Good God. I really don't know. No, I don't think it can be a coquettish look. And I don't think it's a Norfolk-produced spade. I'll try Frank Muir and the
And his
homemade
wretched glue. Yes, Frank, were you having us on with all that autobiography?
Extraordinary thing to say.
Not the glue, not that. What was the true definition? Here it comes. Must be there.
spade.
Not a sidelong coquetting.
Oh, yes. Really, it's perfectly unbelievable that such a look could be called a gledge. But it is. 3-2, very close. Iapetus. Francesca Annis.
Now, an iapetus is a clicking or a cracking noise when a joint in the human frame gets put out of place. You know, like when you twist your ankle or you put your back out or something like that. And the sound of the iapetus is usually accompanied by another noise, usually a human noise, that comes out of the throat like, ah! Or help! That's an iapetus.
Yep, seems very reasonable. Patrick Campbell.
The Iapetus was an enormous book of reference for the benefit of German lawyers during the reign of Charlemagne, Emperor of the Frankish Empire. It was round about the size of the first quarter of the London Telephone Book, but it was written in Latin. And it set out the multitudinous laws what was imposed by the Frankish emperor on the subject nations of places like Gaul and Italy and Spain.
Wales.
Certainly. Yes. Food for thought there, Patrick. Michael, your turn.
Iapetus is an astronomer's word, and it's the name given to the 8th satellite of the planet Saturn. This was discovered by a gentleman called Cassini in 1671. And it has a rather odd characteristic in that it shines brightest on the westward side of the parent planet. I could go on about this all night, but one more fascinating characteristic is that Iapetus has an eccentricity of 0.0284.
Your boss has got more than that.
Well, it's a legal reference book of enormous size. It's the sound of a bone cracking, and it's Saturn's 8th satellite. Pamela Harlech.
They're all amazing, that's all I can say. I don't know, that clicking and cracking noise. It could be, but I don't believe it. I'm worried about that satellite and its eccentricities. I'll go for the Latin book of reference.
That was Patrick who told you all that. Was it all gubbins, he said, or was it the truth? True or bluff?
Absolute dribbling nonsense.
May we quickly know who gave us the true definition, and then we can go and have another word, who knows? Here it comes. Yes, indeed. Saturn's 8th satellite. Yeah, not the 7th, not the 9th, but the 8th. 4-2, and we have Wrangle. Frank.
Wrangle? Oh, yes, lovely word. It's was an annual festival in Worcestershire, where all the lads lined up on one side of the bank of the River Stour, and all the lads who didn't like those lads lined up on the other side of the River Stour. And nowadays it's sort of bingo.
Right. Robin, your go. Fairly swiftly if we're to get it in.
Well, wrangle is an old word for a rib, not an nautical rig, a nautical rib, and in fact it's the rib of a boat.
Pamela, your turn.
Well, wrangle is a rather nasty device used by gamekeepers to make life difficult for animals by placing a stone which obstructs getting in or getting out of their lair.
Well, it's something then that stops up sort of a lair, burrow, that kind of thing. Sort of a festival, according to Frank, and the rib of a boat. Patrick.
As a fully paid-up member of the Irish Navy, now retired, we never had any wrangles in that lot.
Wrangle.
But on the other hand, it's about time we got a little bit of boating stuff in, isn't it? Well, it certainly isn't a romp by the banks of the Stour. Anything that happens in this programme always happens in Norfolk. About 1884, so it can't be that. It can't be the... I couldn't really follow Lady Harlech.
It was a nice stone placed where the little rabbit or...
Yeah, I thought you said that, but it isn't that at all.
Ah.
It's the rib of a boat.
Rib of a boat, you say. That was Robin Knox-Johnston, true or bluff?
Can't change his mind now.
He ought to know, oughtn't he? May I ask you, did you know that was... had you heard the word before?
No, I hadn't.
Oh.
I've never heard of it before.
Well, there you are. The score standing now at 5-2. I declare that Patrick Campbell and his team has won.
Well done.
We shall be taking our killing bottle into the linguistic savannah next week. I make no doubt of that. Until then, goodbye from Robin Knox-Johnston, Michael Jayston, Pamela Harlech, Francesca Annis, Francesca Muir, Patrick Campbell.
Good night.
And goodbye. You'll forgive us.